Now, if you're ready, just like how I am ready, we got George Billionaire ready for us for Hustle Hard.
Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire, and you're listening to Cappy Talk 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. With yours truly, Becky K. Holla holla. Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire, and once again, hustle hard every single Monday from 12 to 1 p.m. This is the best place to be to ensure that we do three things to you. We provoke, inspire, and equip all of those pulses and listeners all over the world as you tune into this amazing show. It's great to hear the feedback, people hitting me up on my phone, telling me, wow, this show is absolutely amazing. And a special shout out to Cappy Talk for allowing us and privileging so many people around the world by giving us this time to share. I'm here in Zimbabwe, and today is Heroes Holiday in Zimbabwe. A special shout out to all those heroes who made sure they fought and liberated this beautiful country of Zimbabwe. And we are where we are today because of those gallant heroes who sacrificed their lives, their youth, to be able to fight so that this country could be beautiful, peaceful, and we as Zimbabweans can be emancipated and empowered to begin to go on the journey of life, start our businesses, raise up our families in a free, sovereign nation. So today, salute to all the heroes and all those people who fought for our liberation as a country. You know, it's such a blessing to have a country like Zimbabwe, which is one of the most peaceful countries. To those who haven't been here, you will see what's going on in the country, the massive development, the growth trajectory that this country is going at, the infrastructure development, and just the amazing people that are in this country. Currently, we are holding a SADC conference here, and it's amazing to see so many countries here in this country and seeing what we as Zimbabwe are doing to grow our country. Today, as we go into the show, I'm going to be talking about the things that I have learned from the failures that I have experienced in my life and how some of these have helped me to become the person that I am. So lessons from the failures that I have experienced in my life. Now, failure is something that all of us, no matter who you are, where you are, you have experienced. Now, I always talk about practical examples. I have a daughter who's now a year and 6 months, and she once upon a time began crawling, began, standing on her feet. And guess what? She tried to walk and she failed according to people. And the definition of failure is simple. The definition of failure is this: the inability to meet an expectation. That is the definition of failure. So once upon a time, we thought that it was going to be simple for her to walk and she would just get up because that's our expectation. But she did not try once, twice. She kept on trying. She walked 1 step, 2 steps, until ultimately now she's walking and she is independent by herself. So failure is defined by us as human beings as the inability to meet an expectation. So people have different expectations, and this is the challenge that people have, that failure is defined by people's view of who you are. But the most important thing regarding failure is that nobody should ever be able to define your own failure, because one of the greatest things we learn from life is that failure is self-regarded. People will never deem you a failure until you deem yourself a failure. Now, we have this amazing individual who created the light bulb by the name Thomas Edison. And we all know the story about Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was deemed to have failed to make the light bulb 1,000 times. And on the 1,001st time, Thomas Edison then managed to create a light bulb that lasted and worked, and that is what is lighting up our houses today. And upon being asked, Thomas Edison was asked by somebody who was interviewing him, "Sir, we heard that you failed to make a light bulb 1,000 times. Do elaborate. What exactly happened?" And Thomas Edison's response is something that we should always learn to apply in our life. And he said, "I did not fail. I learned how not to make a light bulb until I made the one that we are now experiencing today." And this is the lesson with life. People's opinions will always try and belittle your efforts and the lessons you are learning from the thing called life. People will want to equate your life as a failure based on their own assumptions. But in this life, like I always say, we live and we learn. Every single day is a learning experience to he or she who is able to do whatever it is they want to do. And every single day we only get better and better as long as we are working on our craft. So failure is the inability to meet an expectation. And this is only governed by yourself. And you need to keep working on yourself. Now, I have been an individual who started an organization called Pro Air in 2012. But way before that, this is the thing with life, way before that, I failed in people's eyes so many times. I tried to open a phone shop in Glenora where I grew up, and it was demolished because I didn't seek the proper counsel, and I just thought I could erect a phone shop in the building anywhere. And unfortunately, due to council bylaws, it was demolished because I didn't do proper planning. What did I learn from that? Next time you want to do something of such a magnitude, have a plan, consult the authorities, and then you will be able and authorized to build whatever you want to do. What was the greatest lesson for me there? I learned you need to consult and ask people. So in this life, you definitely are going to fail. I can guarantee you so many times. But the greatest things that we're going to learn today are my lessons from failure. And I hope these are going to benefit you as you go through your life. And it's important to understand that one thing about life, if you're not making mistakes, if you're not failing in life, you are never ever going to achieve anything. I've said it before that the worst thing you can ever grow up with is something called regret. And that regret of saying, I wish I had tried. I wish I had started a business. I wish I had increased my streams of income, even though I was comfortable where I was working. I wish. You know, so many people only will realize that all these messages, all these audios, all these teachings I'm putting out there are to help you to actually begin to believe in yourself, to be able to see that, you know what, you might have a great job, you might have great income coming in right now, but there's a thing called time. Whatever is not solely yours will not last long. And running a business that is solely yours is dependent on how hard you're willing to work for it to be able to take care of you, your family, and your country and the world at large. But as long as you have a job, which I always refer to as just over broke, trust you me, this thing that you call time is not going to be on your side very soon. There's going to be somebody younger, smarter, an app that's going to be discovered. AI already is upon us. There's so much that can come and drastically just change this thing you're so reliant on, which is taking care of your family. And then guess what? You're unemployed, you don't have an income, and you're going to be somebody who's going to look back and wished you made much more better things with the money that you had and the time that you had when you could have actually began and started things. So that's my message to people all the time. I'm always trying to bring in that hustle out of somebody who's listening. I'm always trying to encourage people that yes, so many people can say entrepreneurship is not for everybody. George, if everybody is working for themselves, who's going to become employed by other people? That's a good question. But I always tell people that the life you live is according to the choices that you make. And I've made a choice. So many people out there have made choices. And the people who are living the best lives made the most uncomfortable, uncommon choice, which is why they are where they are today. And most of those people who are comfortable, if you analyze their life, they made a decision to go the journey less traveled and became financially independent because they sacrificed the immediate to be able to work on themselves, take a risk, go through a couple of failures deemed crazy by many people, rejected, and so much has been said about why they will not make it. But guess what? They are where they are today because they overcame their fears and they conquered what people called failures that now have deemed them to being successful. So here are some lessons that I've learned from failure. Number one thing I've learned from failure is never give up. You should never, ever, ever give up in whatever it is deep down in your heart you were destined to be. I started my first business in grade 6 selling freezers. I went on to diversify to sell Maputi. I did some CDs selling some time back, went into business, started my phone shop. It didn't work out. And so many other endeavors until finally I now am with Pro Air Conditioning, which is providing a solution to not only people in Harare, but all across Zimbabwe and across making the weather behave. And had I given up, I wouldn't be regassing people's cars, air conditioning people's homes and businesses. But today, because of not giving up and always having a zeal of wanting more and starting something of my own, that not giving up attitude has led me to where I am today. So the number one thing I've learned in life, had I given up many years ago when people told me you're too young, you're not educated enough. And for me, as somebody who failed their O levels, as somebody who was deemed the NHS in the class I was in, which was deemed the no hope squad, I was never supposed to be where I am today. But because of determination, passion, wanting to prove all those critics who said I wouldn't make it, all those people who said without education you won't make it, guess what? I am where I am today because of one thing. I did not give up. So in your life, wherever you are, people's opinions are just that. Never let the opinions of people define you or govern where you end up. Hapana munhu anokwanisa kukuudza kuti hazviite except yourself. There's nobody who's ever going to change your life except you. The person who's responsible for your success is the second letter of success, and that person is you. So take responsibility and do not give up in whatever endeavor you want to do. Lesson number 2 from what I've learned from failure. It's not in the failure, it's in the lesson that is learned. Now, I started that phone shop. I started selling freezers. I started selling so many things at a young age. But the lessons that I learned from those people who deemed them as failures were not failures, but they were very important lessons. So people who have become successful are people who have failed the most. Earlier on, I spoke about Thomas Edison, the man who created the light bulb. And I can tell you the wisdom that man has because of the amount of failures that people deemed he failed, which he then went on to correct to say they were not lessons, they were not failures, they were not how-tos, has now made him become the person that he is today, who is renowned, worldwide known because of what he applied from the lessons he learned. So I always tell people that FAIL, F-A-I-L, abbreviated, stands for first attempt in learning. So in this life that we live, when people say, no, you failed, it's not in the failure, it's in the lessons learned. The number 2 point is that we live and we learn the most from our failures. I've said this so many times. Failure is actually a bridge to success. I'll say that again for somebody slowly. Failure is actually a bridge to success. So if you haven't failed in life, if you haven't tried something and it didn't work out, trust you me, success is still a little bit far from you, because only to those who are able to do what others are not doing are those who will have what others do not have. And in the dictionary, we all know the definition of insanity, which majority of people are living today, doing the exact same things and expecting different results. There are people listening to us today who keep on doing the same things over and over again. They are relying on that one stream of income, the JOB. They are just over broke stream of income, and they are thinking that they are going to survive their whole life. I've said it before. You can work at an organization for 20 years, and yes, you were getting good salary. Some may not be getting a very good salary. But if that's the only one thing that you rely on, the day your job is cut off, the day you are retrenched, the day the company closes, you do not want then to start thinking, what should I do? Rather, make hay while the sun shines. Have a side hustle that you begin, because it's important for you to look into time and know that not all things are going to remain the same as they are. Times may change, things may change, and when things change, be prepared in the time where things are going to not be okay. Always think, what if my job finished today? How will I survive? And don't wait until that time for you to pull up your socks and begin to do something else. Number 3, I love this one. What does not kill you only makes you stronger. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Now, all the people that I know who've ever become great and successful fell down many times, but with so much enthusiasm, dusted themselves up and got back up again to be able to do again and again what they tried to do. But they learned how not to do it and improved and bettered themselves. Some of you have tried once and failed and said, no, entrepreneurship is not for me. Some of you have not even tried at all, and you expect your life to be great in the future. One thing that God gave us was the ability to exist on this planet. But one thing he cannot give you is the ability to have a zeal of a better life. That's a choice that you determine to make by yourself. But if you don't ever try something new, the results are going to be the same. So whatever does not kill you makes you stronger. I can tell you, when I began my journey with Pro Air, I was at a time where I was working. Things were not okay. I was earning $300. And I said to myself, why not, George? People always say, what if it fails? I had no backup plan because I wasn't educationally well educated to be able to rely on a CV to go and look for another job. So I did not have a backup plan. But so many of you have a plan B. And people who have a plan B are always people who are going to be comfortable in life. And they never, ever, ever have to worry about, I can always go and look for a job. But I can tell you, for me, I chose the route less traveled. I chose to jump off the aeroplane, and I learned how to fly on my way down. And I think for me, some of you are waiting for you to be told your job is done, for you to begin to see that you are actually brave and courageous, and you can do a lot more than you can ever be able to. But I love the word of God. It says, as a man thinketh, so is he. According to your faith, it shall be done unto you. Whatever you desire, whatever you believe that you want, you can actually achieve. All these are scriptures in the word of God. And what happens is that God only gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers, because he knows that these people are going to be able to do above and beyond and actually achieve those things. So what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And in this life, we have to be strong. We have to be courageous. And it's those people who are willing to dust themselves up. Yes, you can be laughed at, ridiculed, people's opinions can come against you and tell you this, that, and the other. You know, I always give the example of my father, Nicodemus Munengwa. I love him so much. He's such an amazing man. You know, he supported me all the way up, taking me to good schools, investing in exposure above everything else. But when I wanted to go on to my journey with Pro Air, he said to me, because my father was involved with the city of Harare for 30 years at Department of Housing and Community Service, his view was never entrepreneurship, because what he valued was staying at work and, you know, getting a salary and getting a package. Back then it worked well. My dad got a fairly good package when he left. But one thing he said to me when I told him, Dad, I want to resign, this is not working out for me. You know, a week later, he had a dream about me saying, George, and you know what? I think the decision you're going to make, you're going to come to my house with tattered clothes with your wife and kids. Please think twice about resigning. So get this correctly. Whenever you're close to something, you need to understand that in order for you to go where people haven't gone, you have to mute the opinions of people, even the closest people. Even the closest people, and understand that this thing is true. What does not kill you only makes you stronger. Had I listened to my father back then, I wouldn't be the person that I am. Had I listened to the opinions of some of my friends, very close people, who told me, George, don't do it. You don't even know this market very well. I chose to be the stronger one. And guess what? I am where I am today because I chose to follow my gut and to say, you know what doesn't kill me will only make me stronger. So that perseverance, that determination, that self-belief is key in order for you to reach where you're going to go. Number 4, from the lessons I have learned in failure. Matthew 7, verse 7. Lessons I have learned from failure. In Matthew 7, verse 7, one of my favorite verses here at home, we call it 7v7. It goes on to say, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the doors shall be opened unto you. Now, when you fail, trust you me, one of the things that I learned at an early stage is that there's a thing called success. And success has been reached by other people. And when you want to reach success, you can go to other successful people and ask and seek and knock. And these people will tell you what they did for themselves to be successful. Ask and you shall receive. It's important that when we are on a journey to begin entrepreneurship, go and sit and be mentored and be guided by people who already reached success at the level that you want to. Ask them, what did you do for you to become this person that you are? What are the greatest challenges you faced? How did you overcome some of your failures? What did you do with the chunk load of money you got? Some of these things will help you. And they helped me in life because I sat down with some of the most prominent, successful business people in the country of Zimbabwe and even abroad. Every time I had an opportunity, I would ask. I would seek, and I would keep knocking to try and get wisdom. In the Word of God, it says, above all else, get wisdom. Ask for wisdom from God and from people who have been in business. This will help you to overcome something called failure. Because when you learn from people who have done it before and they guide you, they can help you to become a better individual in how you're going to do your business and run your empire because of the lessons that they would have imparted unto you. It's important. Learn, seek, ask, and knock. And there's so much that will be given unto you. So it's important. Remember this, Matthew 7, v7, you don't know everything. And I can tell you whatever you want to do, become, and have in life, somebody else has already done it. Go and ask those people so that they can help you than for you to bump into failure on purpose when you could have avoided it by asking people what they did. And they can give you some clues which can drastically change your life. Last but not least, and I'm going to give some amazing famous failures which will motivate you for you to be able to become a better person. You know, we look at Oprah Winfrey, one of our famous failures in the world. She was fired from her news anchor job because she was deemed not physically appealing to the television station. Did she stop from there? No, she didn't. Now she's one of the household names in TV known today. We've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. We all know him, Terminator 2. Arnold, because of his name, because of his appearance, because of his accent, people said he was never going to make it. But guess what? He is who he is today, the former governor of California in America. We've got Michael Jordan. He was deemed a failure because he was not chosen from his high school basketball team to go and be one of the rookies in the NBA. And he was deemed a failure. He didn't even make his high school team. But look at him. Michael Jordan is one of the most deemed amazing basketball players of all time. We've got here locally in Zimbabwe, Alec Macheso, Oliver Mtukudzi, Ja Praiser, musicians who were deemed, no, they would never make it. Their parents would shout at them and tell them, no, put that musical instrument away because you will never make money with that instrument that you're making. But look at these people today. These are now people who are household names in their industry because they chose not to take what people said and they chose to prove people wrong. Now it's important wherever you are, be motivated by these names that I've spoken of, and I could have listed so many more. There are so many people who were deemed failures, but they made sure, number 5, they were motivated to prove them wrong. Now in this life, learn from these amazing people and these amazing nuggets I've shared with you. Prove people wrong. This life that you were given by God to live is a life that only you can determine where you end up. And the opinions of people, the lives others have lived, should never ever determine where you end up. Ensure that you fight hard to make sure that we learn from our lessons. We are motivated by those greats who have gone before us. And we begin to say, you know what, from today onwards, kusiri kufande kupi. Let me just try. Let me try this thing that George keeps talking about. I know so many people will say, George, you don't understand the economy, the country we are in, things are hard. And I can tell you, in this life, you have to choose your hard. Because either your kids are going to celebrate you for sacrificing your youthful years to becoming the person that you are now, financially free, and they have a better life, or your children in years to come are going to ask you, when others were working and starting businesses and increasing their streams of income, what were you doing? So you have to choose your heart. And if failure is your greatest fear, I can tell you this: what if you fail is a question many people would ask. But my question to you, and as I end today, what if you succeed and you become the first multi-millionaire, billionaire in your country, in your family, in your continent, that's going to transform so many people's lives because you chose to say, what if I succeed? Holla, holla, it's your boy, George Billionaire. God bless you. Have an awesome, amazing day. Remember, on the 7th of September, we have GB Mentorship Masterclass, and it's going to be amazing. Make sure you register on 0712 840 840 or follow my George Billionaire Instagram, Facebook account and get more details on that mentorship masterclass that many of you have been asking me about. God bless you. Remember, what if you succeed?